3 Very Scary True Stalker. A psychological horror thriller. Chapter 1. The Letter. The first time Oliver Graves noticed the letter, it was waiting on his doorstep. A plain white envelope, no stamp, no return address. Just his name, handwritten in black ink. At first he thought it was junk mail, maybe. A political flyer or a local business advertisement. But as soon as he picked it up, he felt something off. The weight of it. The way the paper smelled like old books and something else. Something metallic. He tore it open. Inside was a single piece of paper, typed, short, too personal. I see you, Oliver. Every night at your desk. You should really close your curtains. Oliver's pulse quickened. He lived alone, in a high-rise apartment on the 6th floor. He glanced at the window across from his desk. The blinds were partially open, revealing the dimly lit city skyline. Had he left them open last night? He couldn't remember. A prank, it had to be. Maybe a coworker messing with him. He'd written a few high-profile crime stories recently, including one on a convicted stalker. Some people took jokes too far. But when he flipped the letter over, his stomach tightened. At the bottom of the page, in the same black ink as the envelope, was a single handwritten line. Don't ignore me. Chapter 2. The First Call. Oliver tried to push the letter out of his mind. He crumpled it, tossed it in the trash, and told himself it was nothing. But that night, as he sat at his desk typing out an article, his phone buzzed. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. Almost. Hello? At first only silence. Then a breath. Slow, deliberate. Oliver, a voice whispered. A shiver crawled down his spine. Who is this? His voice was steady, but his hand had tightened around the phone. No answer, just breathing. Then soft, barely audible words. I know you're reading this right now. A chill ran through Oliver's body. He turned, scanning his apartment. The windows, the door. The call ended. He ran to the window and slammed the blinds shut. Outside, across the street, he swore he saw a figure, watching. Chapter 3. The Shadow in the Hallway. Oliver barely slept that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the figure outside his window. His rational mind told him it was just his imagination. But deep down, something felt wrong. The next morning, he retrieved the letter from the trash. He examined the handwriting again. The ink seemed slightly smudged, like it had been written in a hurry. He flipped it over, rereading the warning. Don't ignore me. His instinct screamed at him. He had covered real stalker cases before, but this one felt personal. Was it someone from his past? Someone who didn't like his reporting? A former suspect? A victim's family member? He needed answers. That night, he set up a small hidden camera near his desk, angled toward the window. If someone was watching him, he'd catch them. Then he waited. By 2 a.m., exhaustion set in. His head lolled forward and sleep overtook him. Until, knock, knock, knock. The sound was faint, but it pulled him from sleep instantly. His apartment door. Oliver's chest tightened. He reached for his phone, fingers trembling. Another knock. Slow, deliberate. Holding his breath, he crept toward the peephole. Outside, the hallway was empty. A trick, a hallucination from exhaustion. Then he saw it. A small white envelope slid halfway under his door. Oliver didn't move at first. He just stared, his pulse hammering. Finally, he reached down and picked it up. Inside, another letter, typed. Why do you lock your door at night, Oliver? Doors are just barriers. Barriers don't keep people out. They only make you feel safe. His stomach dropped. Then something even worse. A photo was stapled to the back of the letter. It was him, sitting at his desk. From behind, someone had been inside his apartment. Chapter 1. The Invitation. In the heart of the Appalachian Mountains lies the forgotten town of Ravenscroft. Shrouded in mist and mystery, once a bustling mining community, it now stands as a ghost town, abandoned after a series of unexplained disappearances. The locals speak in hushed tones about the whispering shadows, entities believed to lure the curious into the depths of the mountains, never to return. Elena Thompson, a renowned investigative journalist known for her work on paranormal phenomena, receives an anonymous tip about Ravenscroft. The message is simple. Discover the truth about the whispering shadows. Come alone. Intrigued and driven by an insatiable curiosity, Elena sets out to uncover the secrets buried within the town. Chapter 2. Arrival in Ravenscroft. Elena's journey to Ravenscroft is fraught with unease. The winding roads are lined with dense forests, and an unnatural silence hangs in the air. Upon arrival, she finds the town eerily preserved, as if the inhabitants vanished overnight. Dust-covered storefronts, rusting vehicles, and vacant homes tell tales of sudden abandonment. She sets up camp in the old Ravenscroft Inn, the only building with intact furnishings. As night falls, Elena hears faint whispers, though she is entirely alone. Determined to document her experiences, she records the sounds, noting that they seem to form unintelligible words. Chapter 3. The first night. That night, Elena dreams of shadowy figures moving gracefully through the town, their whispers growing louder, beckoning her to follow. She awakens in a cold sweat, the whispers still echoing in her ears. Reviewing her recordings, she realizes the whispers are present throughout, even when she was asleep. Determined to find answers, Elena explores the town's library. There, she discovers journals and newspaper clippings detailing the town's history. The miners had unearthed a cavern filled with ancient symbols and artifacts. Shortly after, the disappearances began, and tales of the whispering shadows emerged. Chapter 4. Descent into the Mines. Elena decides to venture into the abandoned mines, believing they hold the key to the town's mystery. The entrance is sealed, but she finds a narrow passage hidden behind overgrown foliage. As she descends, the air grows colder, and the whispers intensify, now forming coherent phrases. Join us. We see you. Forever. Deep within the mine, Elena discovers the cavern described in the journals. The walls are adorned with symbols that seem to pulsate with a life of their own. At the center lies a stone altar, upon which rests a blackened tome. As she reaches for it, the shadows around her coalesce into humanoid forms, their whispering voices now a cacophony. Chapter 4. Descent into the Mines. Elena decides to venture into the abandoned mines, believing they hold the key to the town's mystery. The entrance is sealed, but she finds a narrow passage hidden behind overgrown foliage. As she descends, the air grows colder, and the whispers intensify, now forming coherent phrases. Join us. We see you. Forever. Deep within the mine, Elena discovers the cavern described in the journals. The walls are adorned with symbols that seem to pulsate with a life of their own. At the center lies a stone altar, upon which rests a blackened tome. As she reaches for it, the shadows around her coalesce into humanoid forms, their whispering voices now a cacophony. Chapter 5. The Revelation. The whispering shadows reveal themselves as the spirits of the miners, corrupted by an ancient entity they unearthed. Bound to the cavern, they seek to escape their eternal torment by luring souls to take their place. The tome contains rituals that can either free them or bind another in their stead. Elena faces a harrowing choice: perform the ritual to free the miners' souls, risking her own, or escape and leave the curse intact. Driven by compassion and a desire to end the cycle, she chooses to perform the ritual. As she chants the incantations, the shadows envelop her, their whispers turning to screams. Chapter 6. Liberation. A blinding light fills the cavern, and the shadows dissipate, their whispers silenced. Elena awakens at the mine's entrance, the morning sun casting its warm glow. The town of Ravenscroft, once shrouded in gloom, now feels lighter. as if a great burden has been lifted. Elena documents her experience, sharing the story of the whispering shadows with the world. The tale serves as both a warning and a testament to the dangers of unchecked curiosity and the resilience of the human spirit. Epilogue: The Lingering Whisper. Months later, as Elena reviews her recordings, she notices something unsettling. In the background of her final entry, a faint whisper can be heard. "We are free. But so are you." Chilled, she realizes that some doors once opened can never truly be closed.